Hello everyone, my name is Tara G. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The recent finals of the 3-1 Chicago shows have left fans on the edge of their seats, uncertain about the fate of many of their favorite characters on Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. The One Chicago franchise has never shied away from delivering shocking twists and unexpected departures, with many of these twists and exits coming at the beginning of the new season as the shows resolve the previous season's cliffhangers. Just last year, we saw several members of the Chicago Med cast depart the show in the season premiere, while Chicago Fire bid a swift farewell to a new character who many thought would play a larger role in the new season. Because the franchise has shown no hesitation in writing characters off in the past, there is an understandable fear among fans as to whether certain characters will or won't be back when the shows finally return, whenever that might be. Although the future of several characters remains uncertain, there are 5 individuals who seem to be in the most danger of leaving, following the 2023 Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD finals. Warning: spoilers ahead from the latest seasons of Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD. 5. Maggie Lockwood. Although Maggie might not have been in any danger when Season 8 of Chicago Med came to a close, let's not forget that the final episodes saw her actively seeking employment outside of Med due to the many changes taking place at the hospital. As the season ended, Maggie was still part of the Med team. However, it was made clear across those final episodes that she was a highly sought-after hire and her future remains very much up in the air. 4. Dean Archer. As Season 8 of Chicago Med came to a close, it seemed as though Dean might get the kidney he desperately needed from his son, Sean. Unfortunately, Sean fell off the wagon after misreading the signs and thinking that Hannah and his dad were hiding a relationship from him when here he was catching feelings for Hannah. After Sean relapsed, he essentially ruled himself out as a donor, meaning that Archer is once again in separate need of a new kidney that may never come. 3. Adam Ruzek. As Chicago PD Season 10 came to a close, Ruzek's fate was left up in the air with no update on whether he was going to pull through and survive the injuries sustained when he was shot in the chest. Things weren't looking good for Ruzek as the season came to a close, and he was in pretty bad shape when Voight and the team found him. However, photos from a deleted scene hint that Ruzek did pull through the emergency surgery and will hopefully survive the ordeal. Still, we won't breathe a sigh of relief until we know for sure that Ruzek will pull through. 2. Randall Mouch McColland. In the Season 11 finale of Chicago Fire, Mouch was injured on call, sustaining a gunshot injury, and was raced to Med. Shortly after, Bowden revealed that Mouch was recovering nicely at Med and that his injury was caused by a piece of shrapnel and not a bullet. Fast forward to the end of the episode. Herman visits Mouch in the hospital, and all seems to be fine before things take a turn for the worst, with blood seeping through the blankets from Mouch's injury spot, causing him to lose consciousness and then flatline as the season ended. Given how serious things looked for Mouch as the season came to a close, he's likely the character in the most immediate danger heading into the fall. The Chicago Fire writers have not been shy in killing off fan-favorite characters before as a result of on-the-job injuries, and there is an understandable fear that Mouch could become the latest member of 51 to die from injuries sustained while attempting to save lives. 1. Kelly Severide. The final character in the most danger of leaving the show is Kelly Severide, a character who could be written off as the result of actor Taylor Kinney's possible departure from the show. Toward the end of the season, Severide left town as part of a storyline introduced to accommodate Taylor Kinney's leave of absence from the show. The hope was that Kinney would return by the end of the season. However, that was not the case, as we did not see Severide in any future episodes after Kinney's exit. Watch One Chicago on Fubo TV. Watch over 67 live sports and entertainment channels with a 7-day free trial. While the leave of absence was described as temporary leave when first announced, Kinney has not spoken out once about his status with the show or publicly addressed his leave. This has fans worrying his temporary leave might become a permanent one, which is a strong possibility. When the season ended, Kidd was leaving town to try to bring Severide back home, but if Kinney chooses not to return to the show, there is a strong chance the storyline could end with Kidd returning without Severide bringing about his exit from the series. Take a look at NBC's plan for One Chicago. Throughout most of the year, NBC's Wednesday nights are most recognizable for the 3-hour One Chicago lineup of 3 successful shows sharing a common TV universe. However, that One Chicago lineup won't be taking over Wednesday nights this autumn as usual because of the WGA writers' strike and the SAG-AFTRA actors' strike. Chicago PD, however, has lately resumed airing on its regular night with reruns, but fans of Chicago Fire and Chicago Med must subscribe to Peacock Premium to get their fix. You could have chosen either Chicago Fire or Chicago Med, but why Chicago PD? After the most recent Med and Fire Free Wednesday, I decided to do some research and found that the solution might be straightforward. Even though the season 10 finale of Chicago PD left viewers on a harsh note with the Ruzick revelation, NBC has kept replays of the show airing at 10 p.m. ET all summer long. For a few months, when Wolf Entertainment's La Fire and Rescue docuseries aired at 8 p.m. ET, it was coupled with Chicago Fire at 9 p.m. After the first week of live episodes, America's Got Talent moved to Wednesday nights, replacing Night Court reruns at 9 o'clock and 9:30 p.m. ET with Chicago PD at 10 o'clock. Since the season finals in the spring, NBC hasn't had 3 empty hours on Wednesday nights to fill with One Chicago reruns. However, by continuing to air PD reruns, the network has been able to maintain its One Chicago Wednesdays to some extent. Even as someone who loves Chicago PD, I have to wonder why it gets rebroadcast when both Med and Fire have greater night of ratings during the regular TV season and include far less dismal plots. The simplest explanation is that Chicago PD has always aired on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. ET. Ever since the 3 One Chicago shows started running on the same night in 2018. This regularity in the schedule is always appreciated. Among the 3, though, I believe PD should be rerun the most. Compared to the other 2 shows, PD is more of a procedural and features a smaller ensemble cast. Chicago PD is more forgiving of episode jumps than Fire and Med, so it's simpler to catch up if you miss a few episodes. In addition, if the 1,078 episodes produced by the 3 Active Law and Order series over the previous 30 years are any indication, NBC has struck gold with its crime dramas. While it's true that Chicago PD has lower night of ratings than Chicago Med and Chicago Fire, this is because the 10 p.m. time slot is typically the least watched slot on weeknights across the broadcast networks. So Med and Fire would likely experience drops if they started airing last in primetime as well. Furthermore, the averages from Spoiler TV show that PD grows the highest with delayed viewing. Although all 3 shows, Fire, Med, and PD, are excellent, I think that PD would be the best choice for One Chicago to re-air on Wednesday nights. Overall, I do wish that all this talk of reruns would be irrelevant in just a few weeks like it might have been in any other fall. However, due to the ongoing WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes against the AMPTP, there is currently no date by which new episodes of Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, and Chicago Med can be expected to return. However, there are still upcoming programming alternatives, so check out our 2023 TV guide.